Hi everyone, Matty here. This week I'm once again in the hot seat as your host and temporary GM. We were really hoping that Craig would be well enough to record this week's episode, but unfortunately this virus has hit him and his voice particularly hard. And as you can imagine, this whole thing has caused us a huge amount of anxiety because we absolutely love bringing you the show each week. But when your GM's out of action, it can really derail things with regards to playing the main campaign. However, we're not going to let that stop us. And as such, me and the team have prepared a very special little episode that delves into the past of one of our beloved PCs. I really hope you like it, and we hope to be back as normal next week with Craig slowly but surely on the mend. Let us know what you think in the Discord, and we can't wait to bring you new episodes from the main campaign very, very soon. Thanks for your patience, guys, and I hope you enjoy this in the meantime. So all that's left to say is enjoy episode 29, DMing in the Name of. A caped figure stands proudly upon the deck of a small merchant ship, weaving its way into the ill-reputed city of Riddleport. Despite the readily apparent dangers of this dingy pirate haven, the gentleman in question surveys the hills in the middle distance with keen intent. His mind is already steps ahead of their current location and razor-focused on the task at hand. A cluster of clumsy, bumbling footsteps climbing onto the deck behind him breaks his concentration. He turns around, and we see a noticeably younger Lupin Malice. Despite his face having a bit more youthful colour to it, the familiar scowl that we all know very well is distinctly recognisable as he looks down at the three companions who have joined him on the deck of the ship. And he very much does look down because they are all noticeably smaller than him. So Chris, why don't you tell us who Lupin sees standing before him?
He sees Technic, who's a green goblin wearing alchemical goggles, a waistcoat and a bow tie. And he's got trousers on as well. And on his wrist you can see an augmented gadget amongst other gizmos on his body. Standing next to him is a medium-sized constructed mechanical bear standing upright, of which he is tinkering and talking under his breath to himself about how the pipes could fit together a little better, or maybe this cog could be a little bit smaller, but he's very much preoccupied with this bear, and you can hear him call him Rob.
Amazing. So before us we have a very eccentric little inventor goblin, and I'm sure that Lupin has had to endure the smell of that compatriot throughout this voyage that they've been at sea. There is another equally small companion stood next to the goblin, certainly furrier in complexion. Kimon, why don't you tell us who is stood next to Technic the goblin?
Yes, next to the goblin there is, sitting on the ground, actually, a small shoonie with the facial structure of a pug who has a mixture of brownish white fur and is wearing very, I should say, humble adventuring clothes. And he is currently gnawing away on a stick that he just found when they were boarding the boat just a couple hours ago, and he's been sort of preoccupied with that for the last couple hours, so he hasn't been saying much. Other than that, he doesn't really have anything on him. On his waist there's a small book dangling, which says in a very almost childlike writing style, cooking and stuff. And that's
cooking and stuff. And has he got his ears pierced as well?
Yeah, he has a small piercing on his ear.
I mean, there's about 1,000 things I love about the Shunies, but the fact that they're so photorealistic in the illustrations, but just with their ears pierced and then these humanoid dog bodies. Excellent. So, and what's his name?
His name is Phipps the Wise.
Phipps the Wise. Wonderful. Well, it's a pleasure to have Phipps aboard this voyage. And finally, we have another partner joining this merry band. A dwarf. Craig, why don't you go ahead and describe... Oh, no, sorry. Why don't I just go ahead and describe on your behalf? Unless, of course, your voice fills up to it.
No.
No.
Not yet.
I'm going to pull up your description that you sent me because...
Can you read it too?
I'm going to read it word for word. Can you just muster a little bit of energy to just tell us what his name is?
Boomlick.
Boomlick, which is spelled Bumlick. So Bumlick is a 52-year-old dwarf whose very existence seems intertwined with the ocean's depths. He probably feels very at home on this vessel. Clad in full-plate armor, its design reminiscent of the ancient deep-sea divers of legend. He stands as a formidable figure, a testament to his connection to the watery depths. He is a worshipper of Gozra, a barbarian, I believe. And strapped securely to his back is a massive great club, a weapon that has undoubtedly seen its fair share of battles against sea monsters and other aquatic threats. While traveling with Lupin's group, he has been noticeably very quiet, and in fact, Boomlick lost his voice to a sinister sea hag many years ago. He relies primarily on sign language to convey his thoughts and intentions, though he can occasionally grunt affirmatives when forced. His gestures are precise and deliberate, speaking volumes where words cannot.
Yar.
Great for a podcast.
Look, I once got us to an AP playing a monk who had taken a vow of silence. So,
Yes, that was my first game.
Great introduction.
Just, I think what's hilarious already off the gate of this, of what we know about Lupin, we can only assume that whatever happened on this adventure made him say, never again, never again, and am I going to work with the...
I'm only going to work with people taller than me. I just love the idea that Malachi isn't the most unhinged person he's ever travelled with.
Only humans from now on.
Yeah.
So, all of you have joined Lupin Malice on a quest. Not quite sure exactly what it is you're being instructed to do, but you know that Lupin Malice is a keen treasure hunter. Lupin, all of these guys have come onto deck just as you're coming into view of Riddleport. Is there anything that perhaps you want to say ahead of your voyage into town?
So Lupin surveys the port, does his best to sort of look like someone who's been on a boat before, holds the old hand above the eyes and stares out for what he feels is an appropriate amount of time, then turns back to the others. Gentlemen, good to see you. Well, most of you anyway. Technic, are you there?
Yes,
Technic?
yes, I'm here. Hi, Lupin. Hi.
Okay, just checking. That bear looks like it could potentially eat you at some point.
Oh no, it's very friendly. He does anything I say. It's fine. It's okay.
Yes, that's what I'm worried about. So we're headed into Riddleport shortly. We're looking for a gentleman, a seller of maps, a cartographer by the name of Odiel Cloudsinge. I'm looking for a particular item, and I believe he may be in possession of a map that may lead us there.
So Lupin has probably kept his cards quite close to his chest, as we as the audience already know he tends to do. But now that you're coming one step closer towards his goal, he's let you in on this little fact that you're looking for a particular person in this town. As your small vessel makes dock, Lupin leads this motley crew through the streets of Riddleport, cautious to ensure their little legs keep up with his stride. Diving down an unsavory-looking alley, Lupin and his crew enter a cramped shop. The outside painted entirely black. Faded golden letters, barely legible above the door, read, Odial Cloudsinge, occultist at law. Within the dwelling, impossibly large tomes are stacked to the ceiling, and a waft of pungent herbal incense hits you as it burns from several hanging pots. From behind the shop's counter, an ancient copper-skinned dwarf glances up. Let me take you to the map.
Ooh, take it to the map.
Yes. And here's a little picture of Odial Cloudsinge. So, yes, you see this very old dwarf in blue robes, and atop his balding head, tattoos of constellations in white ink adorn his crown, with piercing blue eyes, and his beard is entwined with many various beads and gems. He looks up from the desk and sees you as you come in.
Ah! Mr. Malice, I presume?
You presume correctly, and I assume you must be Mr. Cloudsinge.
Yes, I am. I was pleased to receive your letter, and it is a pleasure to meet you, though, Mr. Malice, I am afraid to inform you that you're too late. A gentleman came calling 2 days previous, asking for the same maps as you. Well, I tried to tell him I had another interested buyer. He offered double the gold and promptly set off. I'm afraid it was the only copy I had readily available. I am terribly sorry to disappoint you.
That is most disappointing. Looks down at Boomlick, who's frantically signing away. No, Boomlick, we can't kill him. That is, yes, most disappointing is, as much as this is not something I would necessarily always do, is, if you do not have an exact copy, do you perhaps have any maps of the region or anything similar that I may be able to, use to put myself back on the right path?
Well, Mr. Malice, I do have the original chart. I couldn't part with it for, well, any less than 500 gold. Do you have 500 gold?
I'm afraid I do not. No, is my erstwhile companions here did not come cheap. I'm sure, as you can see, is fine hired help of this caliber does not come cheap at all. How about I trade you the Shuni?
Oh, yes, well, he is quite a handsome fellow, isn't he?
Yes. Have you seen the stick that I found outside? And he holds up this stick. It is quite beautiful. Wouldn't you say so?
Well, I'd thank you not to swing it in my vicinity. This is quite cramped quarters, young man.
Continues gnawing.
Well, Mr. Malice, empty pockets are indeed an unfortunate thing, and, well, here was me thinking that you were an experienced traveler. Might an old man impart some wisdom for you?
Lupin sort of starts to say something and then bites it back. Yes, of course. Yes, please feel free to share whatever wisdom you have.
Here's a little pearl that will serve you very well if you wish to continue being an adventurer into your middle age. Whilst on your travels, should you ever find a consumable product, simply sell it straight away. The gold will make your pockets wealthy beyond belief, and the items aren't any good anyway. You'll never use them, so just go ahead and sell them.
Well, yes, thank you very much, Odiel. You are very much a man after my own heart. You, much like me, you apparently can't wait to sell items no matter who they've been promised to or what their purpose may be. So, yes, we are indeed kindred spirits.
Yes, exactly. Now, you know, Mr. Malice, I do feel rather guilty. I know that you've come a long way, so perhaps we can compromise. Now, I had thought that the rumors of an artifact described as such in your letters, in this location, Well, I thought it completely unsubstantiated. However, the uptake in recent interest suggests that perhaps I was wrong. I will gladly loan you the original chart as recompense. However, on the basis that if you are indeed successful in retrieving, and he kind of lowers his gaze, whatever it is that you're searching for, you will return here, give me back my chart, and maybe permit me to study the object.
And Lupin pauses slightly to consider his options. I'm aware that I am a man attempting to bluff without any cards in his hand, Odile. If I want to procure this item, I am very much going to require a chart, so I'm afraid you have me at something of a disadvantage. However, may I argue that we perhaps study it together?
I could agree to that. It would be an honor, Mr. Mellis.
And Lupin holds out a hand and says, "Then we are agreed."
And Odile Cloudsinge reaches out and shakes your hand. He then turns and goes into a series of drawers, throwing papers up in the air as he's searching for the old chart.
No fips, down!
He turns around and hands you a tatty scroll. Unfurling it, you realize Lupin's intuition was completely right. The hills behind Riddleport are indeed hiding a secret. Over the course of the next day, you trek across a landscape that turns increasingly untamed and difficult to traverse. Checking your newly acquired map, sure enough, you can see that the foot of the steep mountain you now stand before leads to your destination. You realize you have no option but to climb it. I want everybody to please roll an athletics check.
Excellent. We're all very good at that.
First roll.
A 15.
A 24 for Technic.
A natural 5 for 10 for Lupin.
27.
So you all begin climbing this very steep hill. I say a mountain, it is kind of like a very tall, steep hill, and at points you do have to make like direct vertical climbs and very steep, difficult traversal. You all, however, manage to reach the top after a few hours. Lupin, however, arrives extremely out of puff and for the next hour is completely fatigued. So yeah, you are fatigued for the next hour, Lupin.
Okay. Yep.
The dusty trail leads you to an open clearing, at the center of which is a natural chasm and a freshwater spring. As you crest the hill, you disturb several peacocks who fly irritably up to a nearby rock formation. Let me take you to the map.
Woo!
What do you do?
Lupin will very much have his head buried in the map to make sure that he's heading in the right direction, and all the time he'll be, flitting between the map and various bits of paper and notebooks, and sometimes he's reading something, sometimes he's jotting something down. He does, when he spots the peacocks, he sort of looks up, realizes what they are, that they are peacocks, and very quickly just suddenly burrows away into his pockets and starts flicking through a notebook, trying to find something, but he's not able to place it.
Phipps looks over at Boomlick, who is pointing at the peacocks and rubbing his belly, and says, "Yes, I could also quite go for a little treat right now. I feel the sudden urge to chase these birds. Am I permitted to do so, Master Malice?"
We are in uncharted territory. We should be careful, as we do not know how stable the ground is, and he sort of looks around somewhat conspiratorially. Who may be watching us? Remember, there are almost certainly others here that were here before us.
Is that a yes or a no? I do not understand what you want me to do, but I am just going to stay here. My instincts say so.
Yes, I think that's that's for the best, Phipps. Technic, do you see anything?
Wow, I just marvel at all of this lovely nature. Look at that over there. Is that some sort of lake up there? It's just all very marvelous. The nature is just beautiful.
There aren't any sticks as cool as mine here, though. You have to
Well,
admit
I'm
that.
not looking for sticks. I'm just looking for technology, and whatever Mr. Malice is looking for, I'm sure it's a piece of technology that he said that we were looking for.
Phipps seems almost hurt by you saying you are not looking for sticks.
So everybody roll a perception check.
I'm going to take a -2 to mine, mate, because I'm presuming Lupin's going to be very much engaged in his books and documents and whatnot.
23.
A 20 for Technic.
14 for Lupin.
Okay, so all of you, except perhaps Lupin, who's got his head buried in his notebooks and is trying to find something out relating to the peacocks. You notice indeed that right in the middle of this area, there is a natural chasm and it's filled with water. Seems to be like a crack where a natural spring forms and kind of bursts out from the earth below. To the north, you see that the path slightly descends into a depression and seemingly goes into what would have been a cave opening, but it seems to be blocked by a solid stone. You're obviously quite a fair distance from there.
Mr. Malice, can you see over there? There's some sort of opening in the cliff face. It's surely that's what you're looking for.
And he sort of looks up from his journals and yes, you're correct. Yes, I agree, Boomlick. Let's move forwards. He sort of sees Boomlick draw his club and sort of wander over to the water's edge, and Lupin sort of puts his journals away and sort of whilst looking around follows Boomlick.
Okay, so Boomlick looks over the edge into the water, and this chasm is very deep, and although this is clearly fresh water, it is not very clear. It's quite murky and difficult to see exactly how far down it goes. And in fact, you can see naturally where there is a flow of water pouring into this natural opening, and the water is bubbling slightly.
How far down is it?
You can't really tell, but it looks as though it will go down very, very deep.
Okay, and can we actually reach the water?
I would say yes.
Phipps would start drinking.
Oh god.
Phipps starts to lap at the surface. Roll a perception check.
That's character death. That is a 17.
It's delicious fresh water. In fact, it almost tastes a little bit carbonated because of the natural bubbles.
This is quite refreshing. You must try this.
Lupin sort of takes one look at the clarity of the water and says, I will stick with my canteen. Thank you for the kind offer.
Technic gets a little vial out and takes a little bit of the water and says, "I'll test this back when I get into the workshop."
Okay. Lupin, roll a survival check as you were just looking at your map.
Yeah, please.
We know you're famously good at survival.
I was going to say, wonderful at survival for an adventurer. That is a rare good roll, though. That is a natural 17 for 19.
You can discern you are definitely in the right place. And you notice that on this old chart, X literally marks the spot to say that on top of this large mountain is where you need to be. Looking a bit closer, however, you realize that this isn't just like a pirate treasure map with X marking where buried treasure might be. In fact, the font is quite ornate, and it's got lots of kind of serif and decorative edging to this X, and it looks like a purposefully drawn
Arial.
Yeah, it's Arial. Yeah, no, it's purely
Comic
it's Gothic Helvetica.
Like and subscribe, font nerds.
So yes, indeed, to the north, you see that the path descends, and yeah, it seems to end in a solid wall of what looked like it was a cave opening.
Okay, so Lupin will begin to advance towards the wall, or towards the cave opening. We'll sort of see as Boomlick is alongside him, gesturing away, sort of pointing and waggling his eyebrows. And as they start to approach, he notices Boomlick is reach over and just remove this massive club from over his shoulders. Yes, I agree. Better to be prepared. We don't know what awaits us on the other side of whatever this is. And sort of as Boomlick is making complicated hand gestures, and he notices what is essentially the universal sign for flapping birds and the cutting of a throat is Lupin. Lupin shakes his head. We must actually take precautions to avoid harming the peacocks or disturbing anything peacock related. If we're where I believe we are, is the peacock is indeed a very holy symbol around here, so we should take care not to do anything that might be considered desecration. And he sort of mentally notes as Boomlick's shoulders sort of slope slightly as he looks a bit dejected.
I have also never eaten peacock before. It is quite a shame.
I'm sure once we get back to Riddleport, we'll have the opportunity, but we shall have to hold on till then.
We should take one with us.
I'm with Mr. Mallis on this one. I don't think it's a very good idea. They're so beautiful. No, they should be able to be free. Phipps, they should be free.
Lupin sort of continues towards the cave's edge, just keeping one eye on Boomlick and Phipps.
Each?
Yes, yeah, he's cross-eyed. He just trips over. He can't see where he's going.
Okay, so as you walk down the path that depresses slightly, you come closer and you can see that there is definitely a cave opening here, but it is blocked by a solid wall. And as you get closer, you can see that ornate ancient patterns are scrawled all over this stone door. Time has faded them quite dramatically, and it's difficult to make out what language, if it is a language, it is written in. Boomlick steps up and hits the door with the club, and nothing happens. It bounces off.
So as Boomlick walks back, sort of looking somewhat defeated by his only approach to things, Lupin sort of steps up and examines the writing a little bit more closely, trying to, even if he can't decipher the words themselves, whether sort of the imagery and whether he can even recognize the language.
Absolutely. Why don't you roll a perception check firstly?
So that's a natural 13 for 22.
Lovely. Anyone else who's studying the door, roll perception also.
Technic will jump onto the back of Rob to get a eyes level view.
Phipps would actually walk up and mumble something under his breath and cast Detect Magic.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, I thought you'd lift a leg and just take a pee. Like.
No other Shuni has been here in quite a while. I do not feel the need to leave myself.
Phipps, you cast Detect Magic, and you do indeed detect magic from the door.
Can I tell which kind of magic?
No, because the schools have been closed, famously,
Hey!
as of the remaster.
Hey.
Fuck.
No, you can detect that it is just very ancient, old magic. It feels almost unfamiliar to you. Like, you know in your bones, like, the energy, the vibrations of this is magical, but it's so faint and old and peculiar. It's like nothing you've really felt before.
What you're saying is, back when this was cast, there were still spell schools.
Yes, you might say. It's as though a million spell schools cried out in horror and then were instantly silenced.
Phipps turns to the rest of the group and goes, "My friends, this door has an ancient magic put on it that I cannot identify. It seems to be here almost as long as the valley itself."
Lupin sort of nods to himself as he sort of continues to stare at the letters and the words.
So, Lupin, you observing all of these ornate, faded carvings, and it's difficult to distinguish, you know, what is actually an intentional carving and what is just damage, wear and tear from so much time that has passed. You do, however, notice that at eye level, directly in front of you as you approach particularly close to the stone door, you notice an impression embossed deeper into the stone purposefully. It's about 60 centimeters in length, and around it you can note just ornate carvings which clearly, once upon a time, were letters, although the language is long lost and forgotten.
Lupin studies the I suppose the impression and the gap. He's racking his brains. He's trying to think what presumably something needs to go in there, and whether he's heard of or has ever seen anything like it before. So would that be a recall knowledge check, or is there some kind of check I can...
I will allow anyone who wants to roll a society check.
Oh, it rolled off the 20. That is an 11 for Technic.
A natural 9 for a total of 9.
It's a 10 for Lupin. Very poor roll.
Oh dear.
No. So we don't.
No, Lupin, although you can't decipher exactly what it means, you know that you have just seen similar symbols in your notebook, particularly as you were looking up whatever you were just researching when you first arrived on the mound.
Okay, so yeah, Lupin sort of, he's staring at this thing, and he feels a sort of tug at his cloak, and he looks down at Boomlick and says, yes, the map. Yes, let us take another look at the map. Lupin sort of lays the map on the ground in front of them all, and sort of restudies it, looking for something you might have missed.
Okay, everyone who's looking at the map, roll perception.
That's a natural 11 for 20 for Lupin.
It's a 24 for Phipps.
24 for Technic.
Okay, so Technic and Phipps, you're looking very closely at the map and the particular shape of this little island at the top of the mountain. And you notice that a distinct shape, particularly with the pool at its center, reminds you of the creatures that you have just seen nesting upon the mountaintop. It's unmistakably meant to resemble that of a peacock's feather. And looking closely at the center of the door and the deep embossed depression, it looks like an oval... I was going to say an oval sausage? No, you notice it's like a long dip embossed into the door, almost the length of a peacock feather.
Gentlemen, we may have to accost these peacocks after all. I suspect we may need a feather from one, and he sort of gives a very pointed look at both Boomlick and Phipps. A feather and nothing more.
Phipps is standing on all fours, looking at Lupin, waiting with his ears kind of pulled back a bit.
Okay, and Lupin sort of looks a bit resigned and shrugs his... Yes, go on then, fetch.
He sprints.
So Phipps bounds over to the little rock formation. It's about kind of 6 foot high, where the peacocks are nesting up there. And as you come running and barking over at them, you certainly disturb them again. And one of them flies down right over to the edge by the pool, very annoyed to be disturbed by you. However, just as it does, from the depths of the spring, a long, tentacled hand emerges, reaches up, grabs the bird's neck, and pulls it down into the sapphire depths. Everybody, roll for initiative.
Oh my god.
How come he gets to eat them, but we don't? Holy shit, Boomlick with
start.
the 27.
Boomlick ready to go.
Everybody, call out your initiative rolls.
It's a total of 11 for Lupin.
9 for Technic.
19 for Phipps.
27.
27 for Geralt the Witcher. Okay, so yes, this long, tentacled, slimy hand bursts from the pool, grabs the peacock's neck, and pulls it down into the depths. It then starts to slither and emerge, and you see a horrible aberration of a face. It looks almost, well, Kimon, why don't you describe what this creature looks like?
How the fuck am I supposed to describe this shit? Holy fuck.
Looks like your
it
mum.
It's good one, Boomlick. Vaguely humanoid. It seems to have at least 4 appendages at the head, but it is sleek and seems slimy almost, with its fingers and toes kind of replaced by tentacle-ish things with what seems like little pointed, what's the word?
Spines. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Spines coming out of them. Its mouth kind of furls into its nose, and it has many rows of pointed teeth.
Yes, 4 rows of very sharp, pointed teeth, to be precise.
Yes, and it has 2 large, black, very creepy-looking eyes.
Yeah, it looks like a quintessential alien, really, doesn't it? It's
Yeah, kind
It
of.
looks like a grey with a hair lip, basically.
yeah, not pleasant whatsoever. But this creature bursts out from the depths and attacks the peacock. But before it can do anything else, Boomlick, you are top of the initiative, and it is your turn.
So as Boomlick is signing frantically at Lupin, and Lupin, who's sort of still fumbling to get his sword cane out, goes, "Yeah, I don't know if the peacock is okay, but let's presume it's not, and you can go and avenge it." and he just watches as Boomlick sort of looks a little bit upset, and then that upset slowly shifts into fury, and you can see Boomlick going into what Lupin recognizes as a rage, and he just suddenly charges towards this creature.
Off the edge.
And he leaps off the edge into the water alongside the
Oh my
creature.
god. So Boomlick has just done a charge, run, and jump into the pool, and he is directly next to the creature in the water with it. Am I understanding that is correct, and that is what you want to do? Yes, and you can attack. Well, please, go ahead.
Have we just witnessed, what is it? The 900? No, what is it? For Sparta!
300.
300.
300.
900.
900 was the
I've
third
watched
one.
it 3
wasn't it?
times. I've watched it 3 times, yeah. Yeah.
It's the one starring Tony Hawk.
Oh, wait, so Craig has just posted a feat in the chat called Underwater Marauder. You've learned to fight underwater. Did you? I was going to say, hey, did you read this encounter? But I've made it up today, so no, you couldn't have done. You are not off guard while in water, and you don't take the usual penalties for using a bludgeoning or slashing melee weapon in water. Love that. And
Pure
Excellent.
joy on his face right now.
And Craig, you can have a hero point for diving into the pool. Love the balls of that. Okay, do your attack then, please.
Every time we've had water in an adventure, someone has nearly died.
Ooh, that's a natural 4.
Hero point.
He's hero
Hero point it. He got 14 with the natural 4. He's going to hero point it. That was a miss. With his great club.
As he rolls.
And it's a natural 20!
Natural 20! He has rolled a natural fucking 20.
This is a one and done.
Roll your critical damage as you dive
God, he's a
into the
barbarian
water
as well.
and
Yeah.
swing up through the water. The water provides absolutely no resistance to your swing as you
the
connect with
barbarian.
this creature.
Not the barbarian
26 points of damage. I'm flabbergasted. The creature is not quite dead, but it is so surprised by what happened. It is left with a giant gash that just oozes on its head. You hit it so hard you leave an indent. Thank you very much. Do you have any more actions, or is
Should
that's
have
everything?
one more action if you sudden charge, didn't you?
And rage.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you raged. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Boomlick. However, from the water behind you, another creature rises from the depth. And let me just show you what this one looks like.
Fuck.
So it is definitely of the same race, it is the same creature, but this one is adorned in a very
Miscalorian.
old piece of fabric decorated around its body, and marked on it is strange lettering, not unlike the one you saw on the stone door. And it reaches out with its hand, and I can only really describe it as like the Demogorgon. Its hand looks like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. It's like this splitting mass of just needles, teeth, and spines, and it is drooling hungrily for you as you have just attacked its mate. And let's see, what is it going to do to you?
Did you just punch my wife?
Okay, so the creature reaches out to strike you. That is a 15 for a 28.
Hit.
Here comes the damage. That's 11 points of damage. And as the creature's fist connects with you, you feel the tiny spines trying to embed themselves around your neck as it tries to strangle you. Ordinarily, before the remaster, this would have been a free grab. However, I'm going to roll an athletics check. Okay, so this is against your fortitude DC, 22.
That's a pass.
Okay, you are grabbed and you are being strangled as this horrible fleshy hand constricts around your neck. Okay, so my creature attempts to constrict you. You roll a fortitude save. That's 22. That is a pass, so you're only going to take half of this. So it's only 2 points of damage as the creature attempts to constrict you. Okay, thank you very much, Boomlick. Coming up next, it is the creature that you've just indented its poor head, and it is going to also try to strike out at you. It is rather furious at you. That is a 14 to hit.
That is a big
That's
old
not
miss.
gonna do it. Okay, then the creature is quite frightened of you, though, however, given that it missed and it's right next to you, it is going to crawl out of the water and try to get to safety. It is very, very wounded, and it heads over here, clearly heading for one of the hills to get away. Phipps, it is your turn.
Phipps, with the cool-looking stick still in his hands, starts. His instincts kick in, and he starts running after the one that's fleeing. And he starts running 25 feet, so he's 10 feet behind the one that's running away. And then he sort of looks at the stick and says, "You have to do something, please." And he starts an attack with his staff, which has the reach trait. So I'm gonna roll to hit. That is a 16.
So this creature is running, and it's very lank and languid, and you miss.
Yeah, and Phipps sort of, after he misses, he goes, "Not like that again," and he and he tries another.
So his cool-looking stick is his staff. Excellent.
Yes. That is a natural 3 for an 8.
That is a critical miss.
Yeah, his the handle is all slippery from his saliva, so he keeps missing.
Okay, thank you very much, Phipps. Lupin, it is your turn.
So yeah, Lupin will have seen Boomlick go diving in, and will have seen the splashing that's sort of indicated there's perhaps more than one in there. So we'll draw his sword cane, and we'll rush up to the edge of the water. So he's so basically he's got the this creature, the choker. He's got it flanked between him and Boomlick. I assume I can reach down into the water with the sword cane.
Yeah, don't worry too much about the map. Yeah.
Okay, for his third and final action, Lupin will take a swing. In fact, no, before that, Lupin is going to use a free action to concentrate and use the potency crystal he had attached to his to his sword cane. So this is a talisman that Lupin created that morning. And the potency crystal, when activated, becomes a +1 striking weapon on the strike itself. So for
Marvelous.
this next attack, Lupin will have the effect of a +1 striking rune.
Ooh.
Very nice.
And that is that's good. That is a natural 15 for 23.
That is a hit. Boomlick says through sign that sounds like a consumable. 23 is a hit.
I can't sell these, Boomlick. I create them every morning. They have no value. If they were worth anything, I'd give up this adventure luck and sell them.
Roll your damage.
You have to believe in yourself. Just because you made it doesn't make it worthless.
That is 10 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
And that is Lupin's turn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malice. And last but not least, as we close out round 1, it's Technic and his bear construct, Rob. What you got?
Now, Phipps, don't be scared. But Technic sees what's going on and he grabs out his dog slicer. Literally what it's called.
Oh yeah, goblins hate dogs.
Good thing that I am not a dog. I just bear a close resemblance to them.
And that's his first action, so he grabs that out. On his little wrist, for his second action, he kind of fiddles a little bit and you see his gizmos whirl on his hand and are sort of around his body, and he goes into overdrive. And what that means is that I crank up my gizmos on my body and also Rob's body, giving me a bonus to the damage that we both can do. And I would need to roll a crafting check, but I have assurance, so that will give me an automatic success to it.
Very nice.
So we are now, and his gears as well, they all start to turn a little bit faster as well. And Technic then turns to Rob and goes, "Rob, get over there!" and points towards the creature that is trying to flee. Rob automatically looks at Technic and nods his head really quietly, jumps over the top of him and moves 40 feet around to stop the creature from fleeing any further, and will try and bite down onto the creature.
Okay. Roll to
With a
hit.
piercing attack. That's a 21 to hit.
21 is a hit from Rob the Bear. Here's his bear bite.
And that is 8 points of damage.
Okay, well, Rob the Bear, describe your kill.
Hey.
Rob moves around, and as he sort of moves past, takes a massive bite with these mechanical jaws. It's not even a real bear's head. It's one that's constructed from Technic's own imagination, and bites down and rips the head off of this goddamn awful creature.
Show off.
But Boomlick is furious that you stole his kill.
And then spits it out at Phipps.
Thank you very much. Okay. Boomlick, you are grabbed and suffocating. So you are running out of air while this creature is still maintaining its grasp on you. Boomlick bash. 25 is a hit. Roll your damage. Oh,
nice.
Damage numbers.
damage. That is 18 points of damage against the choker. Okay, it's not looking very happy about that.
Hit him again, Boomlick. Hit him again.
Okay, 16 to hit is a miss, I'm afraid. What else you got? Boomlick is going to try and preserve his air as the creature maintains its grapple on you. It is now the creature's turn, and it is not letting go of you anytime soon. It is going to try and attack you with its other arm. That is 28 to hit.
Oh my god.
That is a critical hit. All minimum damage, that's a 1. That's 12 points, though.
Oh.
Don't goad him.
Is Lupin notices Boomlick waving the sign for pathetic back at the creature.
Just a,
Yeah.
Okay, so the creature hits you, deals some reasonable damage, and then it's going to spend an action to maintain its grasp around your neck, and for its third and final action, it is going to attempt to constrict tighter. Roll a fortitude save. A
Nice.
26 is a pass, so you'll take half of this. That is again minimum damage, 4 points. So that's just 2 points of damage for you. And that is the creature's turn. Thank you very much. Phipps, you're up.
Phipps goes, I swear I don't normally have these performance issues. And he takes one step closer to the sort of pool of water. So he's now 10 feet away from the creature that's still alive. And he then uses 2 actions to spell strike.
Ooh.
And tries to combine his regular weapon strike with a cast of Gouging Claw. And he's gonna see if this hits.
Okay.
Please don't disappoint me. That is a natural 1.
A natural 1 is a critical miss.
I am getting really salty right now, so I am going to let my emotions get the better of me and will use my hero point.
Excellent.
Watch this second natural 1. That's a natural 7
Close enough.
for a 17.
I'm afraid still
I am-
doesn't do it. That is a miss.
Guys, I'm just gonna leave the call. I'll be back in, 2 hours?
Yep. Okay, well,
That's
thank you,
turn.
Phipps. Lupin, you are right by the creature, flanking it with Boomlick.
Yes. So Lupin can see this creature sort of still hanging on and is going to try and maximize his damage here. So he's going to attempt to exploit vulnerability on the creature.
Way.
Classic Lupin.
Absolutely, yeah. Exploiting
Classic.
vulnerability the turn after I should have done. So Lupin will attempt to exploit vulnerability, and that is a natural 18 for 29, a critical success. So I remember all of its weaknesses, resistances, immunities, etc. It has none. So Lupin will instead take the personal antithesis bonus damage, which is 3 points of damage.
Okie dokie.
Okay, and then will strike out with his sword cane, which is sadly now just a regular +1 sword cane, no striking.
Okay.
So that's a natural 4.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna put this thing to the
guys.
ground, Jace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boomlick's
I've-
turning purple.
Got
Yeah.
one action left, and Lupin will take a second swing.
Go for it.
Oh, it's a natural
That
20.
is a natural 20.
And as you do, the creature uses a reaction and it moves languidly, pulling Boomlick by his neck effortlessly through the water right here in front of your blow. I am going to have to attempt an athletics check to move you against your fortitude DCs. 29.
Success.
So what happens is the creature moves you into an adjacent space, putting you in the way of the melee attack, meaning that you take the damage.
No way! The critical hit! Oh, God.
Ah, well, this is some bullshit. Can we have the old GM back?
We must compare that.
Because I'm about
Participating in
to, I'm
this
about to
combat
kill
must
his
be really
character.
fun.
So 24 against your AC. Obviously, that's a crit. It was a natural 20.
That's a hit, I presume. Yeah, it's but it is a natural 20, so that's a crit. Yep. That is a natural 1 for 2 points of damage. The best possible
My
outcome. So
God.
Lupin
My
just
gosh.
at the last second sees that it's Boomlick and just pulls to one side, and instead of going straight through his chest, he just sort of stabs him in the knee.
Yeah, he manages to react kind of just in time before the creature puts him in harm's way. Very, very
That
nice.
is Lupin's turn.
Thank you, Lupin. Okay, Technic, it's your turn.
Technic is going to try and increase his overdrive by engaging his Gizmo's in overdrive. He's going to roll a crafting check to see if he can get a critical pass on it. And I roll now with the crafting check. That's a 13, so that is a failure. My overdrive doesn't stop. It continues for a minute, but nothing else happens. And then Technic will turn to Rob and go, Rob, I think we need to go and help out Boomlick. I think he's looking a little blue down there. Go and attack him, that little creature. You've bitten the head off one already. Let's go. And Rob, Julie does as he's commanded to. If I move to here, will I still be on the edge? If I move to the south, just on the edge
that's
there,
fine.
or am I in?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okie dokes. And he will... Sorry, Technic will use 2 actions to do that, which will give Rob 3 actions to do things,
Very nice.
which is a special feature of the Inventor. And Rob will then first strike, bite down on this creature with his bite attack. Off guard with a 27 to hit.
Yes, that is a hit as this big lumbering beast comes diving in behind and bites into the creature. Roll your damage.
So that's 7 points of damage.
Okay, you bite into it and deliver the damage.
And he will then try and bite
It's still up.
again.
Only just.
For 22 points of damage.
That is a hit. No, 22 to hit is a hit.
And that's another 7 points of damage.
Oh, the creature is just barely. Consciousness is leaving its eyes, but still, any strength it has left is in its fingers wrapped around Boomlick's throat.
That is my turn.
And just as a point of order, Lupin's attack on you, Boomlick, that you were moved into was a critical, so you lose an additional round of air, I believe, for being hit by a critical attack. So how many rounds have you got left? 4. Okay, well, Boomlick, it is your turn. Oof. Round 3. This creature is barely hanging on, but it still is choking the life out of you in the water. Boomlick looks up, and in his eyes, you see that he's saying, "Fuck you!" It's a hit. Yeah! Roll your damage.
Come on.
19, because it's off guard, is a hit. And Boomlick, sign your kill. He, with his middle finger up to the creature, he jabs it into its eye, poking right into its brain, and the creature sinks below the depths. And you are out of combat. Well done, everybody.
Yeehaw.
Okay, well done, guys. You're successfully out of combat. You have defeated these horrible amphibian, alien-like aberrations. And everything at the top of the mountain seems peaceful once more, although there is one lonely peacock looking very mournful on the mound of rocks, having just seen its partner promptly dispatched and killed. What do you do?
I think the first thing first is Lupin will sort of help drag Boomlick out of the water and take a look at his wounds. How are you doing there? You look like you've seen better days. Is anybody a healer?
Boomlick, that was very courageous of you, jumping up there, jumping in there quite quickly. I think I might have something for you. Rob, you could do something for me. And he sort of jumps onto the top of Rob and kind of tinkers with him a little bit. And out of one of Rob's claws comes out a healing mist of loads of different herbs. And
It's a vape.
you get basically vape, yeah. And you get 2d10 worth of healing from this vape as you suck it in. Oh, not very good though. 8 points of healing for you. But as he tries to do that, it's an unstable action.
What are unstable actions?
This is a kind of risky action. My inventions aren't that stable, and they are prone to not being able to be used again within a certain time frame unless, as an inventor, I tinker with my construct for 10 minutes. There's a flat check, a DC flat check of 17. Otherwise, my construct sparks, and there is a possibility that there is some damage to come from that if I critically fail, which I do.
So damage to you or damage to the construct?
Damage to my construct.
So basically, inventors' creations can do really brilliant things, but a lot of them have this trait called unstable, which basically means that it's a bit of a gamble each time you use those actions. So as Rob starts dispensing this very fragrant mist, unfortunately it does catch alight and sets off a miniature explosion, dealing how many points of damage to himself?
That's 3 points of fire damage.
Yeah, and he starts sparking and all of his cogs jutter and splutter for just a minute. And he does manage to carry on, but there are distinct dangerous flames, and all of you are looking at Rob as he jutters quite unstably.
And Technic jumps at this and goes, oh, I'm very sorry about that. And will then proceed to spend some time tinkering to make sure that, and reloading that searing restoration patch.
So
within
the
Rob.
mist got all burned up, did it? It didn't actually work on anybody.
No, it does work.
Oh, it does?
work.
Okay,
The
right.
action works, but then the DC check is to see if I can do another unstable action later on in exploration or in combat.
Okay, well, do you want to... So you've rolled the healing then? So that was, 8 points of healing?
That was 8 points of healing.
Okay, everybody gets healed for 8 points.
And Lupin sort of pats out a small sort of spark that was igniting on his cloak, and yes, thank you, Technic. Is an unorthodox solution, and one hopefully we don't have to repeat. Is I don't want to be putting out fires all day. Does anyone happen to have any healing tools?
It appears that Boomlick has already drank a healing potion.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's that's good to see. But nobody has any healing tools. Lupin writes down in his notepad: never travel with a party that doesn't have healing tools. I'm learning so much. That's definitely a mistake I'll never make again.
Thank goodness I'm learning this lesson now.
Absolutely. It could be really disastrous if I did this again at some point in the future.
Excellent.
So, are you okay, Boomlick? I do have a spare potion if you'd like a little bit more, or okay. And sort of Boomlick's sort of shaking his head, just bleeding a little bit. Is fine. So with Boomlick being okay, Lupin's going to have a look around where that peacock got grabbed. Did it happen to loose any feathers as it went under, or was it pulled down entire, as it were?
Roll a perception check.
Yep. I have feather spotting lore, if that helps.
That, in fact, is a very apt lore for this exact situation.
That is a natural 18, but as Lupin sort of spots it and goes over to reach it, he realises that Boomlick has gone even quicker.
Boomlick, you realise actually that the peacock feather is lodged in your beard, and that when you went into the water, several feathers, in fact, came off in the water, and you have one in your hand.
Boomlick, I am quite curious how they taste. May I have one?
Boomlick
Please.
shakes his head furiously.
Phipps takes the feather, looks at it, swallows it whole. Yes, that was quite good. I could go for another one at a later date.
Have you got a tickle in your throat now, Phipps?
I have no idea what you just said to me, Goblin. You're going to have to speak a bit slower so I can understand you.
With that, Lupin sort of dusts himself down and grabs one of the remaining feathers out of Boomlick's beard. Right, gentlemen, I dare say we may have lost enough time as it is. Let's head towards this door. And moves over towards the door and the relief or the depression.
Yes,
Feather-shaped depression.
certainly. So you approach the door, feather in hand, And you hold it up and you notice, in fact, that yes, the feather will fit nicely within the indent in the door.
Yep. So Lupin will place the feather in the door.
And as you do, you hear a deep rumbling, vibrations emanating below your feet, and the large door crumbles into the ground, disappearing and revealing a large cavernous opening into a small cave inside.
Fascinating. And Lupin sort of nods to the others. Okay, gentlemen, let's proceed, but with all due caution. We know not what might be inside this cave.
As you step forward slightly into the cave, you notice that it's in fact a very tiny little room in there, save for a narrow hole in the floor just inside the cave's opening. It is very dark in here, and you can't see how far down the hole goes.
Phipps will take out of his little satchel a small red, what looks like rubber ball, and he's gonna sort of shake it a bit and mumble something, and it begins to shine in a bright light as he casts light on it.
Thank you very much. Very good.
And you said it's a small hole, and otherwise it's a small empty room.
Yeah, it's a small empty room, save for this hole, which is it's a man-sized hole. I'll say that it's a manhole, if I'm allowed to say that on for the watershed.
But we don't see at this point how deep it goes.
No, you do not.
Okay, so then Phipps will look at this rubber ball that is now emanating a bright light and look at the room and just with one swing bounce it against the walls, so it's just flinging around the room until it goes into the hole and illuminates the hole on its way down.
So he does a little trick shot before he throws it down the hole.
No, he just tries to bounce it off the walls, and at some point it has to fall into the hole, so
Got you.
then it falls.
Okay. The small light disappears down the shaft. A few seconds later, you hear a very faint
Companions, this fall only took a couple of seconds, which gives, if we all dive down there at once, at least one of us a decent chance at survival. Now, in the last day that we traveled together, I have built quite a strong connection to all of you. I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel like I would die for all of you, and I love you very much, and I would happily jump first.
I'm gonna just quickly interject and say that it's a healthy estimate, given how long it took to fall, that it's at least a 30-foot drop.
Phipps will still say that.
Yes, thank you, Phipps. That's very kind and very noble of you, and well worth the 5 gold I'm paying you. However, Lupin reaches into his pack. I do have around 50 feet of rope here that may negate the need to plummet headlong into the darkness altogether.
May I, before we put it down in the hole, tug at that rope with my mouth?
No, let go! Hey! Hey.
That wasn't even me, that was Boomlick.
So if it is about 30 feet, is there anything in the room or just outside the room? Because obviously we've got a fair bit, of extra rope. Is there anything else we can sort of attach it to? Or?
Yeah, there's some very strong rock formations inside the cave that you think you would be able to attach the rope to.
There's nothing else sort of note in the room itself other than this little gap.
No, the thing of note was on the door, all of those carvings and etchings and everything which have disappeared. Okay. But inside the cave, yeah, it's just a cave. Save for this hole.
Yeah, so Lupin will fasten the rope to something, and we'll lower it down into the hull. Does anyone have does anyone have dark vision or anything similar? Boomlick, you seem to be getting around okay. Would you mind going first, perhaps? And Lupin realizes as he finishes the sentence that Boomlick has already just basically sort of shifted his pack slightly and is hanging onto the other end of the rope and is making his way down.
I would like the DM to clarify, please. Do I have humanoid hands, and can I operate this rope?
I'm going to say no.
Friends, I will wait up here. I will stand watch.
Stay. Yeah, no, you
boy,
can use
no
the
barking.
rope.
Although, to do that, I need a little house with my name on it.
Yeah, you can use the rope, Phipps.
Okay, good.
Okay, is everybody
do we
going
need a
down the
check
rope?
or-
Technic will follow.
No,
Yeah.
no, if you take it slowly, it's okay. Just go down slowly, one by one. I'm going to assume that you take enough time and you're very careful doing this. The hole that you're going down is wide enough for you all to pass through comfortably. But yes, it is quite a perilous climb as you go down, but you feel like you've secured yourselves well enough. Lupin, you had quite a lot of rope there to get down as well. And sure enough, you reach down into a cavern entrance, and the lower down you go into this cavern, you realize that there is a dim light source, and it isn't the little thing that Phipps threw down there, although you do see that on the ground, but there is a glass orb pulsating ever so slightly that grows brighter and brighter as you get deeper into the cavern, almost like it is responding to your presence. And sure enough, you land in a narrow corridor of carved stone, and the orb illuminates the corridor within which you stand. Let's take it to the map.
How far is that orb away from us, roughly?
So the orb, just as an aside, the orb is just at literally right beneath you.
Okay.
And it starts illuminating as you go down, and it's right behind you, Lupin, where you're stood.
Okay.
And it is quite narrow as you descend into this corridor. And Boomlick, you're at the head of the pack, and it opens up into a slightly wider cavern where you are. And you notice that, although it is quite shadowy, the light from the orb shoots small beams through and reflects off what looks like polished crystal that has been meticulously polished so that it has a mirror-like shine. So this beam of light is just etching its way, charting its path through the cavern, almost like it's leading you where you should go. But before you stands a big cavern. A rickety bridge lays across it.
Phipps will detect magic.
You detect magic, and Phipps, you certainly do detect magic from the orb. It's responding to your presence, and it is a magical light source, but you don't detect anything beyond that in the immediate vicinity.
This particular magic seems quite helpful, honestly.
Yes, well, it's like many things, it's helpful until it's not, and that can switch quite quickly. Is we should be very, very careful. Watch your step, gentlemen. There is every possibility we are the first people to tread here in many hundreds, if not thousands, of years.
I certainly do not smell another Shuni.
That is incredibly good to know.
Yes.
Maybe we can take a quick look to see if there's any danger ahead.
Yes, so you step up into where the cavern opens up a little bit more, and you see that there is a big gap in the floor, and a rickety, old, rotting bridge joins the gap.
Well, it looks like this, it looks quite rickety. I'm not sure we should go over it unless we've got some other way of getting over.
Okay, roll a perception check, Boomlick. 15. Yes, you see a rickety old rope bridge. It is very, very old. However, given what Lupin has just said, millennias and, the length of time he's talking about, well, the bridge couldn't possibly be that old. But it is in certainly poor condition.
We should proceed carefully. Did anyone else bring any rope?
I believe I might have some rope. Let me just check my adventurer's pack.
Perhaps we could cross one at a time and fasten the rope around our waist.
Yes, I have 50 feet of rope. As does Boomlik, I believe.
Technic moves up a little bit and maybe takes the rope from Boomlik and ties it around his waist to just make sure that he is absolutely safe, and just has a peek. Doesn't step onto the bridge, just to have a look to see if I can see anything down the cavern.
No, it's very deep.
Lupin stands there for a second and waits for Technic to realise that he just took the rope off Boomlik and is holding the other end himself.
Yeah, you can see that it's a very, very sheer drop, like 100 feet. The light that is being cast and bounded around through into this cavern and the corridor beyond does illuminate enough for you to just see that it goes very, very deep. Remember how high you climbed, and you're now inside the mountain.
Well, gentlemen, if there's one thing Lupin Malus is, it's bold and brave and ready to move forwards at a moment's notice, so I say we cross this bridge.
I have no reason to disbelieve you, so I will join.
Yeah, Lupin will grab the other end of the rope from Technic and say, well, Technic, you are the smallest. Perhaps it makes sense for you to go first. We'll hold on to the rope. So if anything happens, we'll have your back. And possibly anything else that's left of you.
Okay, yes, that kind of makes sense. Yes, it does make sense, yes. Okay, here goes. Do you think it's best to go fast or slow?
I think it's just best to go.
Okay, and Technic strides across, or tries to.
Okay, so Technic, you cross the bridge, and it does certainly feel very unstable, but you are a tiny little goblin, and it seems okay. You get to the other side.
Well, I got across okay. I'm sure everyone else will be fine. And he unties himself and chucks the rope back over the chasm.
Pips, perhaps. Yes, you're a little bit larger. Perhaps you next.
Yes, I will gladly go next. And he walks past Lupin and walks over the bridge as he forgot to take the rope.
Oh, Phipps, you forgot to take the rope. Okay, well, the bridge does creak and strain, but you make it across.
It is completely safe. I suggest that, what is his name? Rob should go next.
Yes, okay. Rob, I think you should maybe take a running jump at this one. I don't think that you might make it, so, come on, jump over here, boy, come on. And Rob will make a long jump action to try and jump over the 10 feet of the chasm. He runs 10 feet and then jumps.
Okay, so he tries to skip using the bridge entirely. Roll your athletics check for a long jump.
He easily makes it with a 23.
Okay, yeah, that is a pass. You successfully. Rob leaps across, and he lands with a large dunk on the other side, disturbing a bit of pebbles and rock from the ceiling, but the bridge remains intact. 2 left to cross, Boomlik and Lupin Malus.
Well, Boomlik, are you planning on using the bridge, or are you going to follow Rob's example?
Can I just... Lupin, go first. He has plot armor.
Yeah. Okay, well, you hold on to this end of the rope, Boomlik. I'll cross next. And Lupin ties the rope round his waist and very, very carefully steps gently out over the bridge.
Okay, Lupin, you are the third person to cross the bridge. Obviously, the 2 that went before you are quite small, quite light, and you are significantly heavier than them.
Yes.
One of the boards does snap beneath your feet, and you do just catch yourself and hold for a moment as the rope bridge just strains and swings. You catch your breath. You take another step, and another, and you make it to the other side without incident. Okay, Boomlick, just you to go. Why
Why didn't he toss the dwarf?
Yeah, why didn't you
Why
toss
didn't we
the
toss
dwarf?
Boomlick?
Yeah, when we get back to the hotel, Boomlick.
You should catch him by his facial hair.
Who's got the rope?
Lupin will obviously. Lupin will unfasten the rope from his waist and hold onto it. I presume Boomlick will have tied the rope around his waist.
Yep.
So Lupin will sort of hand the end of the rope over to Technic and Phipps as well, so all three of us have got a bit. And watches as Boomlick, I think initially has a bit of a look at the bridge, and then takes a big step backwards and has very clearly decided he's going to take a running jump.
Okay, Boomlick, you're going to take a running jump. You have got a safety rope tied around you. It's a DC 15 athletics check.
Ooh,
That is an 18. So you make it perfectly on the other side of the bridge. Success.
Woo!
Well done. You've all
Gotta get
successfully
back across
crossed
it, yeah.
the bridge.
Well done, gentlemen. We managed not to fall into the GM's bridge trap.
I don't know what you're talking about. So you're on the other side of the slightly larger cavern here, and then it narrows again into a winding corridor of stone, and the light continues to bounce around on this polished mirror-like surface all the way through here. It's quite beautiful, but ethereal in its own right. What do you do?
Mr. Malice, I think you should lead the way. You know what we're looking for.
Yes.
Yes, Master Malice, let me just... And he goes up to Lupin, and he casts light on Lupin's cane.
Thank you, Phipps. And I suggest we proceed with all due caution and weapons drawn. We do not know what may be waiting for us in this corridor. And begins to make his way down the corridor.
Okay.
Technic will have his dog slicer out and will be seeking behind Mr. Malice. Or maybe, yes.
Okay.
Phipps would like to use his keen sense of smell to try and smell any whiff of, people, animals, any sort of living thing.
Is that, do you have that as a sense?
He has a scent as an imprecise sense, yeah.
Phipps, you put your nose to the ground, and this is obviously a dusty, dank cave, so there's a lot of smells going on in here, but you do detect something that is rather fresh. You can't quite place it. In fact, roll a society check, and let's see if you can.
Just for future reference, I get a +2 to survival checks to track anything that I have smelled before.
Okay, let's do survival then.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do,
Even better.
roll a survival check.
Do I get the +2 from that?
Yeah.
Have I smelled that thing before?
Yes.
That is insane. Okay, very good. That is a natural 14 for 25.
It's your own bum.
I knew I smelled that somewhere.
It's difficult for you to place exactly what it is, but it is a familiar scent, for sure. You would place this as reptilian in nature.
I smell scales of some sort. It seems to me rather reptilian. Something is in here with us, I should say.
Thank you, Phipps. Is that simultaneously good and terrible to know?
Yes. My father was a bloodhound. I know these things.
As I say, Mr. Malice, I think we should move with caution and be ready for possibly something that we saw before in the pond.
Yes. Thank you, Technic. Let's move on with haste but caution. And Lupin continues on down the path.
I'd like to think that Phipps has got his nose to the ground and his bum in the air, sort of.
Yeah.
Lupin, roll a perception check.
That's a 19.
You hear, although it is quite a fair distance away, but it is definitely echoing down the corridor to your ears, a sound
Oh my god, I see where this is going.
Is it Craig?
Lupin sort of gestures with his hand to sort of cups their hand to the ear and sort of beckons down to keep the noise down, and he extinguishes the light on the sword cane or covers it over slightly and moves to the sort of exit of the corridor where it moves into this larger room in front of him.
Okay, Lupin, you're the head of the pack in this narrow corridor, so you are the only one that sees. It opens up into an enormous cave. The beam of light that has been banding around, leading your way through this winding corridor, bounds off walls of polished stone, illuminating this entire cavern so you can see perfectly. And the walls are painted and decorated with giant effigies of peacock feathers, and it's really quite stunning, this ancient artwork that has been preserved in this deep cave. A small stream of running water, presumably leading back to the spring below the mountain, is present in front of your feet. It isn't deep, it's just a trickling stream. But as you enter into this cavern, you distinctly hear a groaning, pained sound coming from the north of the chamber.
Lupin will, cautiously looking around, very wary of any potential ambushes, etc., will step into the cave, trying to pinpoint the source of the sound.
As you step further into the cave, directly to the north, you see a figure, disheveled and dressed in traveler's clothes and looking malnourished, ill, and clearly nursing a broken leg tied to a stone rock at the north of the chamber, is a lizard folk that looks like this.
I knew it! I knew it!
A broken monocle dangles down on his chest. He barely can register your silhouette in the distance. But when he does, he calls out,
Oh, please. Help me. Help me.
all of you would know as players that that is the one and only Erikanesh.
Yes.
So good.
I seem to have forgotten my name suddenly.
Lupin will call out, "Are you alone?"
Yeah, please. Help me. Please.
Lupin will look around, still very wary of a potential ambush, and will sort of slowly move towards the figure with his sort of hand on his sword cane. What's happened?
I was trying to find an artifact. I followed a map here. I fell down the hole. A creature grabbed me. Please, my leg is broken.
Are the creatures still around? Did you see where they went?
I have not seen it in hours. Please, we must leave here. Please, help me.
Lupin will sort of continue moving carefully towards the this figure that we know as Erikanesh. Pray tell, what's your name, friend?
My name is Erikanesh. And yours, Savior?
Malice, Lupin Malice. These are my companions, Bumnik, Technic, and Phipps here. At this point, Lupin has sort of pretty much reached Erikanesh and will reach into his pack and hand him a healing potion. Here, drink this. It may not entirely fix your leg, but it will surely ease the pain.
And he gulps it down ravenously. Clearly, he hasn't had any water in more than a day. And he does start to recover his strength quite quickly.
If we ever get out of this alive, I owe you a steaming pot of tea, Lupin Malice.
Yes. Well, I shall hope to take you up on that someday. But for now, I dare say we're not far. What certainly I, and I suspect quite possibly you, came here for.
While you're having this conversation, Phipps, you have hung all the way back by the entrance to the corridor. Roll a perception check.
It is rolling. Natural 20.
Oh, nice.
Whenever we're not in combat, you can trust I can roll.
You hear the distinct sound of splashing coming from the south, and what's more, a horrible scent starts to reach your nostrils. Dank, unfamiliar, almost alien-like, and stumbling, splashing into view is a horrible creature that looks like this. It is a four-eyed, humanoid bat creature crouched down on all fours with werewolf-like feet and a dank purple hue, and it has bared teeth, its ears alert, aware that intruders have entered its home. It screeches out in a language. Does anybody here speak Aklo?
I don't believe so, no.
It screeches out in a language that none of you understand. And it runs at all of you. Roll for initiative.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Let's go.
Matty, mechanically, am I to assume an hour has passed by now?
Yeah.
For the purposes of fatigue.
Yes, I will say that an hour has passed. Lubin, you've managed to recover your strength.
Lovely. All that climb.
What is up with Boomlick's initiative rolls today?
Yeah. This is why all Craig's monsters roll so bloody well.
Okay, everybody call out your initiatives, please.
25.
20.
17.
17.
Okay,
Let Phipps go first.
nice.
Thank you very much.
Boomlick, you are up first. You see this purple humanoid bat-like creature with four alien-looking eyes stumble into view at the south of the chamber, quite a ways from you, and it screeches out, alerting you to its presence. So Boomlick uses his first action to go into a rage. He then draws his weapon and moves round the corner so the creature cannot see him, hiding like a coward. And that is your turn. Technic, it's your turn. This creature is a good 45 feet away from you to the south.
So for Technic's first action, he's going to slide down and dismount the bear. Second action will get his dog slicer out. And for his third action, will turn on the overdrive to enable extra damage. And that will be his turn.
Okay, so Technic slides down from Rob and starts powering up his construct. Thank you very much. Phipps, you're closest to the creature.
Yes, Phipps would like to brace himself for the creature approaching and push his turn until after the creature went.
Okay.
And he's gonna look over to Lupin and say, Master Malice, you might want to brace yourself as well. And he stays.
Stay. So you're going to hold your turn.
Yes.
Okay.
Till after the creature.
Okay, Lupin, it is your turn.
Lupin is going to... I think the creature is just sort of far enough away and there are enough bodies in between that Lupin can't quite see it well enough to exploit vulnerability. So Lupin is going to sort of follow Phipps' lead and hold his turn for now until he can get a better view of it.
Okay, it is the creature's turn. And sure enough, he comes running up, screeching in front of you, Phipps. And he swings out at you with a kukri in hand. This is 24 to hit.
Hits.
Okay, here's your damage. Minimum damage again. I'm rolling minimum damage constantly. That is 5 points of damage from the kukri. He is going to go for you again with his jaws. Oh, it's a natural one.
That is a critical fail.
Critical fail. He misses. You dodge backwards. Okay, Phipps, it is your turn.
Phipps, now standing right in front of the creature, looks up at it and says, "Finally!" And he casts Sure Strike with his first action.
Okay.
So he basically gets D&D advantage, so he rolls twice and takes the better result for his next attack this turn.
Don't ever mention
And
that game again here.
I am
Say you're gonna be
very
cancelled.
sorry. And he is going to use his second and third action for a spell strike, and he is going to try to merge a shocking grasp with his staff attack.
Okay.
Natural 19 for 29.
A 29 is a hit, not quite a crit.
It is a natural 19. What are you? Okay, I'm used to fighter stats. It's fine. Okay, that is going to be. First off, it's the regular staff hit, which is maximum damage for 12,
Nice.
Okay, whack.
and then it's gonna be shocking grasp damage on top, for a total of 27 points of damage. Some of that bludgeoning, some of that lightning.
Bzz, bzz. Ouch. Okay,
Holy
yeah,
cow.
that really does hurt the creature. Is that your turn?
It is.
Okay. Lupin, it comes round to your turn.
So yeah, Lupin will see this creature, rushing in and trying to attack Phipps and taking a hell of a shot for its trouble. So he will first things first attempt to exploit vulnerability on it. So that is a natural 19.
That is critical success.
Critical success. So I remember all of its weaknesses, and its weaknesses are: it is weak 5 to fire, which is good to know. But it also, of note, has an immunity to cold. So that's worth knowing. So I will exploit the mortal weakness, which will basically mean that Lupin's attacks count as if they are fire for purposes of this. So what Lupin does is, as he reaches in to draw a short bow from his back, he basically grabs some flash paper and attaches it to the head of the arrow as he prepares to aim and fire at the creature. So that is 1 second. That is a natural 2 for a critical miss.
Thank you very much.
I will re-roll that with a hero point.
Yes.
That is a natural 1. And Lupin basically gets the short bow and just basically and fires it straight into the backside of Rob, right in front of him. I cannot get the hang of these short bow things. I guess ranged weapons just aren't for me. And just mutters to himself, and that is my turn.
Okay, we come to the top of round 2. From the south, you hear more sounds of splattering, pattering, and the beating of wings as 2 scouts come to reinforce their master. We're at the top of round 2. Boomlik, it is your turn. Okay, so Boomlik runs across to flank this horrible bat-like creature that's attacking Phipps and flanks him, making him off guard.
Whoosh.
And he's gonna lash out.
No surprises at what he does next.
Club strike.
Oh, 26 is a hit. Okay, that is 11 points of damage, but some of that is cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
So not all of that goes through. Second attack. Let's see what you got. Oh, that's a miss. By 1, you rolled a 17 total. That is a miss. Okay, Technic and Rob, what you got?
Technic's gonna hold and rob.
Okay, thank you very much. From the south, one of these creatures, similar to their master but much smaller, flies up to Boomlik and attempts to attack you with its jaws. That is an 18 on the die, 25 to hit.
Hit.
Okay, here's your damage. They're only little, these guys. It's 1 point of damage, but roll a fortitude save.
Nice.
That is a success. You managed to fend off whatever venom was going through your veins as a result of this bite. The creature is going to try and bite you again. 16 to hit. Miss. Okay. And it is now the big boy's turn. He is not particularly happy about being attacked by all of you guys. He's going to step up towards Technic. And as he steps towards you, Technic, he starts waving his hands in a complex pattern, invoking seemingly dark powers. His hands become enshrouded in shadow. Everyone within 20 feet, roll a will save. DC 22. Oh, Boomlick, that's a crit fail. Phipps, that's a fail, I believe, as well.
And Lupin failed.
21
Lupin,
for
that's a
Technic.
fail. Technic, that's a fail. Okay.
Can I use my hero point?
You can. Oh, the 17 is a fail, but it's not a crit fail, which is what you had before. Okay, so DC 22. Anybody that failed, you are going to take this mental damage. That is 14 points of mental damage. Half if you saved. And if you failed, you are stupefied 1 for 1 round.
No spells.
That is the creature's turn. Phipps, you're up.
First action, Phipps will enter his Arcane Cascade stance, which he can only enter if his last action was a spell strike or a spell cast, which it was. So now all of his strikes deal an additional force damage, and because of his Twisting Tree hybrid study, he can now, as a free action before every attack and at the end of his round, switch the grip of his staff from one-handed to two-handed, or from two-handed to one-handed. Right,
Fabulous.
so then his second action will be stepping up to the previously casting creature so that he is now flanking it with Technic. And for his third action, he will attempt a DC 6 flat check to overcome his stupefied condition,
Yes.
because he is going to try to cast the Spinning Staff focus spell,
Love this.
which would recharge his spell strike and allow him to attack 2 different enemies with his staff. I do not have a hero point. I do, however, have hopes and dreams,
DC 6.
which are crushed.
That's
Absolutely crushed.
not a 6. That is a 2.
Does that also disrupt the fact that I recharge my spell strike, or does it
Yes.
just fuck my life? Okay. Jesus Christ.
Duh.
Okay, I'm gonna say goodbye to one of my focus points and to all of my plans for the next round and pass the turn.
And from the south, another one of these little scouts comes flying up. It goes whizzing past you, Boomlick, and then flies over up to you, Technic, to assist its master in attacking you. And as it comes flying through, it is going to use its Jaws attack. That is, terrible. That's 13 to hit.
That's a miss as Technic dodges out the way.
Okay, that is his turn because he had to fly all the way up there. But Lupin, it's your turn.
Can I take my turn now, please?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Technic's first action will be to strike out at the big guy in front of him that weaved its magic with his dog slicer. Overcharged dog slicer. 18 to hit.
Which one are you going after, sorry?
I'm going after the big guy in front of me.
Against the big guy, because he is off guard, that is a hit.
8 points of damage.
8 points of damage as your dog slicer comes down into his shoulder. Black liquor like blood starts pouring from his skin.
And then for his next 2 actions, he's going to command Rob to flank around the back to the west of me, getting a flank with the other smaller bat, and I am going to tell Rob to explode.
Explode.
This does not take any hit points from my innovation, but some of the bits fly off and deals 3d6 fire damage with a DC 18 basic reflex save for everybody in a 5-foot emanation.
Which is both my scout and the master. They are both right next to Rob as he explodes, so they are going to roll a reflex save. So here's the small one.
That's
He
a failure.
rolls 16. That's a failure. And the big guy, he's going to roll. Oh, that's also a failure. So what damage do I take?
So you take 8 points of fire damage.
Okay, so as we know from Lupin's exploit vulnerability, they are weak to fire, so the shrapnel hits them, but the flames hit them harder, and the master dies from the explosion. So, Rob, describe your kill as this weird bat-like cultist falls to his knees.
I think we've said everything that can be said. The explosion, it's one of those where the explosion emanates from Rob, but he sort of stands there in a hero pose as the flames do not affect him, and the big creature falls to the floor in flames.
Thank you very much. And also, that was an unstable action, so what do you have to do now?
That was, and I roll a DC 17 flat check to see if I can use it again in this battle, and I will roll it now. Oh,
Hey.
I got a natural 20, so I can use that again.
So Rob exploded, and he just gets to explode again if he wishes. That's good.
And that is my turn.
That's your turn. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Lupin, you're up. You are by poor Erikanesh.
Yeah, we're just sitting down having a chat, really.
More tea.
Yeah. So Lupin will
Yes.
basically toss the bow to one side and mechanically swap it for his sword cane for his first action. I'm presuming these smaller creatures are the same sort of broad species as this.
Yes.
Yep, cool. Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because actually I've got to spend the action to make it the target of my exploit vulnerability. So Lupin will exploit vulnerability on the small bat that's currently sandwiched between Rob and Technic, and rolls a natural 2. Wonderful. Super useful. Super useful.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so he's still the target of my exploit vulnerability, which is what I wanted. And because he's the same species, I know what his mortal weakness is anyway.
Yes.
So I can still apply the mortal weakness. Okay, so Lupin will reach out and will strike with his newly drawn sword cane. And that is... that's another natural 2. It's nice to know that
Ouch.
even in the dim and distant past, I still can't roll for shit.
Is that all your actions?
Exploit vulnerability, move, and strike, yes.
Oh, what a thrilling flashback to your past. I can see why you want to
In
forget
fact-
this memory.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, technically, that strike didn't even count because I forgot that I swapped the weapon first as well. So it doesn't matter either way.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Boomlick, you are up. There is a little scout attacking you to the south. What do you do?
We're going to do a furious finish.
Furious Finish. He's going for it.
Oh.
So for those who don't know, Furious Finish is a one-action barbarian action, and desperate to finish the fight, Boomlick pours all of his rage into one final blow, hoping to kill the creature. So make a strike. If it hits, he will gain a circumstance bonus to damage equal to the number of rounds remaining in his rage. He has 8 rounds, so there's a good chance he's going to deal some serious damage here. Roll to hit then. This little guy.
Come on, critical.
He's going to roll a 20. He's going to roll a 20. 70.
17 is good.
27. Critical hit.
Oh, lovely.
Hey. Ooh. Oh my gosh.
That's 48 points of damage on this level 1 creature.
Could
So-
be enough.
Boomlick, I'm not going to have you describe it because it's too graphic, but the creature is dead. You slice it into bits. Which is very impressive because it's bludgeoning damage. You bat it out of the
Bumlick
air.
does an Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay, you are, of course, you are fatigued now as well because you put all that energy into that strike.
Okay.
So Bumlick charges up, standing over the dead cultist creature, and goes to swing at the last remaining scout. He misses, unfortunately, with an 8. Phipps, you're up.
Yes.
One creature left.
And Phipps kind of just thinking, I might as well put all in here. And as his first action, Phipps casts Force Fang, which is another focus spell. It is 1 action, and it deals 1d4 plus 1 damage to the target, just without a roll or anything. And it also doesn't count as an attack.
Oh, nice.
So the scout takes 4 force damage.
Oof. Okay. That
Now-
hurts it quite badly.
Now, having recharged his spell strike, Phipps is gonna try to spell strike again at the creature.
Desperate to get one of these off.
Yes, he really is. With a gouging claw attached to it.
Go on.
That
Okay.
is gonna be a natural 17 for 27.
Yeah, critical hit, and this thing has, I will tell you, 1 hit point left. So,
Let me have
Phipps,
this. Let
describe
me
your
have
kill.
this. Let me have this. Okay. Phipps, with his cool stick that he found, swings down at the little scout creature, and right before the stick would hit it, it sort of shifts in an unnatural way, and a sort of magic pulse goes from Phipps' fingertips up the whole stick toward the tip of the stick, and out of the tip there come 2 pairs of clawed hands which impale the scout.
It sounded very much like you were describing something else there, Kimbo.
I will say that was quite an excessive description for a 1 hit point worth of damage. But thank you very much. The creature is absolutely dead. You are out of combat. You've killed these weird bat-like creatures. And I will say they're particularly unusual. None of you have seen creatures like this, even read descriptions of creatures like this. But you are out of combat. You are alone in the cave. Erikanesh to the north says,
Well done. Well done, Mr. Malice. You've bandied together quite a crew. Very impressive.
Yes, it would appear I've managed to pick a crew that's perhaps more capable in combat than I am. As it appears that I perhaps need to work on my martial prowess somewhat. But nevertheless, the deed is done.
I'm sure you'll improve with time.
Yes, me too, undoubtedly. How do you feel, Erikanesh? Do you feel able to stand?
Well, having witnessed that incredible battle, I feel invigorated, like I've had a big shot of caffeine. Now, I will say, Mr. Malice, I assume that we are here for the same reason.
Yes, it would appear so. Whilst I will gladly aid you. Is a friendly but competitive edge is all the same. But I'm sure you will understand if I perhaps insist upon on taking the prize on this particular instance.
My friend, it would be an honor. It is the very least I can do.
and reaching into the inside of his tattered jacket pocket, Erikanesh pulls out a small but ornate, incredibly finely crafted hand mirror with a polished obsidian surface, surrounded by an oval frame made of what appears to be peacock feathers. It gives the appearance of sparkling, just as the light catches the impossibly fine slivers of jade, silver, and opal embedded within.
I found the item atop the stone just there. These bizarre creatures, they didn't seem to know its value. I didn't even get a chance to inspect it before they accosted me further. But I want you to have this, Mr. Malice.
And he hands it to you.
Thank you, Erikanesh. And Lupin carefully, very, very carefully takes the mirror and examines it, and will sort of briefly look into the mirror.
And as you do, Lupin, what happens as you activate this item?
As Lupin sort of gazes into the mirror's depths, he feels this incredibly strange sensation. It's incredible pride in the person staring back at him, almost as if everything he's accomplished and everything he's done couldn't possibly have been achieved by just one person. And that the person looking back at him, even though it is Lupin and looks like Lupin, is someone else. But just as quickly as he does, it vanishes, and he's just staring back at himself. And Lupin sort of lowers the mirror and looks at the others and says, This is the item I was looking for. This is the Cerusian mirror. It was rumored to have belonged to none other than Zandagul himself. Zandagul was a tremendously powerful, arrogant wizard of Aslanti origin. He was. There are some people that even claim he was the peacock spirit himself, a demigod. This item is unspeakably rare, but whatever it is, whatever magics it contains, it appears I am not currently able to wield them. So I will need to spend more time with this item, but that is for another time. We should make our way out of here before anything else happens. You have all been tremendous service.
Yes, Master Malice. I have no doubt that you will master the power of that artifact, that mirror. I get the sense that you are destined to be bound to objects of significance, great power. I am grateful to have met you, my friend. I owe you my life. I owe all of you my life.
And Erikanesh looks around at each of you, all of you beaming with pride at what you've accomplished, supporting Lupin in his aim. This mysterious, quiet figure, often moving with strong determination and maybe not so willing to trust others, but has put his faith in this unusual band of associates. And as he stares into that mirror and feels an unusual sense of pride, he can't help but feel a deep satisfaction at having allowed himself to trust in the companions that brought him here. And the curtain comes down.
So good.
Master Malice, who is that other Shuni looking back at me through that mirror?
You've been listening to Describe Your Kill, The Death of Destiny. Find out more at describeyourkill.com. Thank you to Paizo, Michael Gelfi, Creator Chord, Sirenscape, Kevin McLeod, Foundry, and Sigil Services. Get all the links on our website. This podcast uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. This podcast is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com.